But if that video is real of him losing weight, then the heavyweight division is in trouble. But we say this every year.
I don't know if they're in trouble, but
I'll push it a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know if they're
Reaching.
in trouble. John Jones up there. Back with another card, Derrick Lewis versus Sergey Spivak. Scrolling through the prelims, one or two noticeable names. Jung Park versus Dennis Chalulian. We got Ji Yeon Kim in the women's flyweight division. But other than that, nobody's really standing out for me personally. Do you see anything?
I agree.
Yeah. So the first fight being Yusaku Kinoshita versus Adam Fugitt. I liked Adam when we was doing the research, when he stepped in on short notice against Michael Morales. Yeah. He actually is a pretty good fighter on the regional scene.
I wouldn't say good fighter, decent fighter.
I mean, I say for the regional scene, he was cleaning up a lot of people. He had good win to loss ratio.
I see what you're saying.
He finished most of his fights.
I see what you're saying prior to the UFC.
Yeah, that's why I said regional scene.
I got you.
And I'm going to keep it a stack. He had some moments in the Michael Morales fight.
Yeah. It just, what he was doing was working against Michael Morales. Like the lead straight. For some reason, Adam has this thing he does when he doesn't throw a jab, and he throws a lot of lead kicks and a lot of lead punches. But for some reason, his left straight kept on working. I watched a lot of his fights, and a lot of times it don't really land like that, but it was working against Michael. I guess because Michael did take the fight on short notice too.
He looked good in certain moments in that fight. And
it was just apparent he had to get the fight to the ground. I'm not saying he has a better ground game than Michael. That's what I'm saying. Even against Yusaku, he has to get this fight definitely to the ground.
Yeah, but that's the problem. I don't think he'll be able to because, man, I was looking at Yusaku's fights and this dude, and it's like, the left hand is coming, but it's fast, it's clean. He has different looks with it. It's powerful. And I went back and I was looking at the Michael Morales fight. I mean, we know a lot of Adam's fights, but I was looking at that last one and some of those power shots at the end, I could just see Yusaku doing something similar, but much cleaner and much faster. And kind of ending this fight, I really see this fight ending with like a second round TKO.
Yusaku is a southpaw.
Yes.
Adam, I was watching one of his fights against...
The one that ended in the third round.
No, the one against Reno. And the guy, he's a southpaw, Reno. And he dropped Adam with a right uppercut. With Yusaku, he throws a lot of right hooks. I can see him throwing a left hand and a right uppercut too. Which he don't really throw a lot of uppercuts, but I think he can go back and watch that fight with Adam and Reno, throw that left straight and the right uppercut and hurt him.
I saw that same fight, and this is the one where he actually did pretty good after that because he started doubling up on his jab and using his range, and he really broke the dude down before getting that finish.
He started to slow down. He kind of looked like he got a little bit of Matt Brown in him because he started to wear his opponents down.
Yes.
Adam is not the best striker at all, but some kind of reason he's able to maintain his power, and his opponent started to slow down because Reno was winning up until he started slowing down in the second round, and then Adam was able to do whatever he wanted to him.
And then once he started going from sloppy takedowns and stuff, so in my mind I was just thinking, what would Adam have to do to get Yusaku to that point? Because I don't think that he really can. And my only thing is for Yusaku, he has to not underestimate Adam. Don't underestimate him, and you got to fight smart. But I definitely see this fight ending for a TKO for Yusaku. I don't see a way for him to lose without just completely dropping the ball here. I think this is a showcase fight for him,
It's just a weird fight because you got one guy in Yusaku who's a calculated and a patient fighter, and then you have Adam who's an aggressive. He's not really the most technical striker. So, it's two different styles. They're going to meet. So, is the more patient guy going to win, or is the more aggressive guy going to win? Because I can see Adam breaking Yusaku down.
I can see over time. Like, if Yusaku doesn't get a quick knockout, or if it doesn't go as smooth and clean as he thinks that the fight will go, as the fight progresses, Adam could weaponize the cardio. But I just don't think it'll happen here, man.
I agree. And I can see ways that Adam could win this fight, but I think Yusaku is very talented. The way he wins, it's the fact that he's making these fights look easy. He's not taking no damage. He's blocking with his shoulder.
And what I've been learning is when we have to play the game of somebody can win if they fight the perfect fight, a lot of times it don't happen. So what's your prediction?
My prediction is, I know Adam is a tough guy, but the thing is with Adam, he gets very, very impatient. And he's fighting against somebody who's very, very patient. I can see Yusaku frustrating Adam. And when he gets frustrated, he gets more wild. But I think this is an easy win for Yusaku. At the very least, he's going to win a decision. At the very least,
should.
Oh, I'm sorry, he should.
Yeah. No, I'm agreeing. I'm saying he should at the very least.
I know, because you can't really count Adam out too. But I mean,
I know, because Adam is a very slick and dangerous guy. But I got to pick Yusaku.
But Yusaku got to keep the fight on the ground. He should be good.
Oh yeah. Then the next fight we have is Duho Choi versus Kyle Nelson. We haven't seen Duho Choi in a minute. He had to do the mandatory Korean Army, the training.
I forgot about that.
The same thing they did with Korean Zombie. Remember, he was gone for 2 years, and then he had to come back.
And that's probably the best thing he needed for his career.
Yes.
Because he was on the end of some beatdowns.
He really might not be in the UFC right now if that didn't happen. But they keep him around because he did have a classic fight with Cub Swanson, which that might have been too much at the time because he only had 3 fights.
That was a Hall of Fame fight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that was his 4th fight in the UFC. He beat Thiago Tavares. Man, forgot about him. Oh my God! Remember?
Yeah.
He was the original RDA. Real talk. And then he got Cub Swanson, and that was too much. And then he ended up headlining a card. Yeah. That's when Jeremy Stevens had dropped down to featherweight, and Jeremy just ended him bad. The way he grinded, pounded him, man, and just knocked him out unconscious was crazy. Then he ends up getting charged Jourdain. He actually fought worse people as time went on.
And that's what scares me with Duho Choi.
Stylistically, for him.
Yeah, that's what scares me, because the thing is, Char's not known for his one-punch knockout power. And at the end of the first round, Duho Choi was winning, and he got dropped with like no time left to go.
Oh yeah.
And then in the second round, he got dropped when he got finished in the second round. And Char's not really known for his knockout power. He's known for his volume and his
but that's what he did. When they was in the clinch, he was going to the body, knees. He really poured it on him.
It looked like Duho Choi, it was the accumulation of all the damage he took.
Yeah, so it wasn't like a one-punch knockout.
Yeah.
Even small clinch situations, man, he was just going to the body.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it looked like the accumulation of damage he took in his previous fights caught up to him. Because in previous fights, he didn't really get, with the exception of the Jeremy Stevens finish.
I'm saying Charles poured it on pretty bad too, man. It was a lot, man. You know, to fight Charles, this is one of the fights that people realize you can't let Charles do whatever he wants, because that can happen to you. Does that make sense? Because if you notice, other people that fought Charles after that,
Nathaniel Woods, takedown.
None of them let it happen. What's the other dude that went to PFL? Shane Burgos?
Shit.
Nope, not happening. This was the prime example of what happened. So he fought some tough competition, man. And a lot of people...
Duho Choi has this thing to where he doesn't fight that good off his back feet.
But he keep going back against the cage for some reason.
And it's just, if he fights Jeremy Stevens before that, he wins. Before the Cub Swanson fight, I think the Cub Swanson fight really kind of destroyed him, because he really wasn't the same after that fight, man. But luckily, he's fighting Kyle Nelson, and I don't think Kyle can do a lot to Duho Choi.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think that for some reason, Duho Choi, it seems like it almost like he needed his opponent to stand in front of him and just let him hit them. Almost, it seemed like he had some power. But as the competition increased, he was having a hard time landing it. And then there were several times where he did land it and people didn't go down. Like, he hit Jeremy a few times and Jeremy just didn't go nowhere. He hit Charles a few times. He didn't go nowhere. There was a few times Cub had Duho Choi hurt. And then when Cub went in, Cub got hurt. But it wasn't enough to like actually do anything to him. So I think that his power almost kind of hit a ceiling as far as what his training brought him at that point in time.
Yeah.
But that military training, this is what I'm finna say. Remember when Korean Zombie came back, he knocked out Dennis Bermudez.
Yeah.
I think the same thing's finna happen here.
I think the thing is with Duho Choi, I think fighters realize he's a great counterpuncher.
Yes.
And the thing is, I know I'm not contradicting myself because I say he can't really fight going back like that. But the thing is, certain fighters like Charles Jourdain and Jeremy Stevens, they realize to put pressure on him, but do feints.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Because if you just go in on him, you can get countered.
That's what happened to Cub. Almost got knocked out a few times.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you could put pressure on him and do feints or whatever and kind of confuse him with leg kicks and stuff, you can kind of like throw his rhythm off.
Because it's other things involved in the striking that's not necessarily power related that he didn't have the skills yet at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's other, like you mentioned, feints, lateral movement, just like you mentioned the back foot. It's certain little things that it seemed like he was relying too much on just catching people. And yeah, you could do that against a fading Thiago Tavares or Sam Cecilia, who was, you know,
live by the sword, die by the sword.
Yeah, somebody else who I ain't even seen them in the UFC since 2014. But I think that the time off would definitely help his career. The fact that he was in the military training will help him. He stayed in shape. And the mental toughness of doing that. should it help him? I don't expect anything other than a first or second round.
And exactly, this fight might not last long because Cal is so wild. And the thing is, Cal, I'm not gonna lie, he does have some power, but at the same time, if you watch his fights, man, he walks forward. Sometimes those punches with his chin up in the air. It's like, man, like what is going?
I hate to say it, man. Sometimes you look at a fighter and you almost kind of question, are they really supposed to be here?
And another thing with Cal is almost like it's like he thinks he's better than what he really is, man.
Seems like it.
Yeah, because it seems like the way he fights, man, which he does have some power. I'm not gonna lie to you. If you don't have anything else, he has some power. But at the same time, the way he fights like he's Anthony Johnson. It's like you walk forward, he just throwing punches. You ain't that guy, man. Like,
and it's that durability factor where certain times a guy can be tough and durable, and you can weaponize that. Don't get me wrong, but you have to have some type of skills to wear people down that you can use once you get them to that point. Like how we just mentioned with Adam. Adam can wear you down, and then he can knock you out. He can submit you. It's like, I'm gonna be real. Other than the Marco Polo Reyes fight, man, it's like
not even
ain't a lot to go off of.
And also, Cal had a couple of fights to where he was winning and he got tired. And actually, Joe Rogan said it against Diego. That he said it looked like he had an adrenaline dump. You would think that because the way he is, the way his body is, you would think that he can go hard for 3 rounds and that he has one punch knockout power. But it's like he don't fight the way he looked.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, this is an easy fight in my opinion.
It should
for Do or Choi. But the thing is, he's been gone for so long.
But he's been in. It ain't like he was gone because of an injury.
I understand what you're saying, but when you still gone. Not fighting for 3 years is still not fighting for 3 years, man. But
yeah, but to be fair, Kyle was gone for 2 years himself before the Jai Herbert fight. That might be why they made this fight, because he only got one fight since his 2-year layoff, and he didn't look good at all in that fight against Jai Herbert, which that was a bad matchup anyway. But so they could have did that on purpose. So and they was marketing Korean Superboy heavy when he first came to the UFC.
Yes,
so that it might be time for them to be like, you know what, Zombie is out of there.
I think they're trying to get Cal out there too, man.
And they're trying to get Cal. Yeah, they're trying to get him out of there.
I can't see nothing Cal can do to him. If I'm gonna just be honest, except try to take him down to the ground and submit him. But Do or Choi, like Cub couldn't keep him down on the ground.
Yeah, that ain't how you beat. And he was in full mount at one point. Yeah. So then we look at Marcin, Tybura, and Blagoy, Ivanov. You know.
Didn't he just fight against Jailton last week? Shamil? No. Blagoy, he kind of fight like Shamil now.
They both are not really all that good. That's the thing. The only people think they're similar.
The only thing is with Blagoy, man, his striking is a little bit better.
It is.
He's a southpaw. He kind of fights, I know I'm going to get roasted for this, but he kind of fights like DC a little bit. But he's not as aggressive, and he's a southpaw.
And he overdoes it, and he doesn't have the wrestling to chain at the end of his combinations. Because he likes to do this thing where he swarms with a bunch of punches, really with his head down, kind of almost looking at the floor, and he'll just swarm with a bunch of punches. Now look, against less than stellar competition, it has worked.
But he has taken some people down though too.
No, I'm saying against certain people, it worked. But if we're being real, he really didn't lose that Derrick Lewis fight.
Oh no, man! You remember he had him in a Kimura?
Man, he did Derrick bad. That was just one of those fights where everybody was glad Derrick got it, because we know Ivanov ain't challenging for the title or nothing like that. So, you know, it would be better for Derrick to be up there, but he definitely didn't lose. And the Augusto Sakai fight is like, So his only legitimate loss is to Junior Dos Santos.
Oh, yeah.
And people, you know, we got to really look at that. Now, when we go look at Marcin, this dude is a mixed bag for real. You just never know what you're going to get with this dude.
And he's a heavyweight neutralizer. Like, he's a high IQ fighter, man. Because he ain't the most athletic guy, but he's real good at fighting towards his strength. Like, he knows, and he knows, like, I'm saying, like, for example, like, you know, like, he fighting Walt Terrace or he fighting Greg Hardy, I got to get this fight to the ground.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
But the thing is, it's like he's missing something for me, man. Like,
can't put my hands on it, but something's
missing. I don't know if it's that juice.
Am I missing something here?
It could be his style, man. It could be his tentative style to where, like, sometimes he don't pull the trigger. That could be the issue I have with him.
I'm looking at the record, man, and I'm starting to see it, man. He got 23 wins, 9 by KO, 6 by submission, but only 2 of those KOs have come recently. Wait a minute, this dude fought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in 2 years. I just realized it.
Well, the heavyweight division is kind of thin right now, man. So I mean,
yeah, but still, to get that many fights in the heavyweight division is kind of crazy. But one thing I've also noticed, even on previous predictions for Marcin, when he gets to a certain level, he kind of struggles. Even like Fabricio, Derrick, Shamil, Augusto,
Alexander Volkov, it's like he has a ceiling, man. And it's like when he fights those top tier opponents, he loses.
Is Blagoy that tier of fighter?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's at the bottom of it. It's just, you gotta understand, he got a couple losses he don't have. His record, he probably should be in the top 10, if I'm gonna just be honest.
Because he got them 2 split decision losses where I think everybody kind of knew what it was.
But the question is, what can Marcin do to him?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Because the thing is, look how many knockout losses Blagoy got. And it's whatever you think it is what it is.
And then you
gotta say, look who he fought against. He fought against Tua Taveras.
Did you see the Derrick Lewis fight?
Lewis.
The punches that he ate? Dude, no. Blagoy's chin is ridiculous.
You want to tell what it is? You know, like back in the day, man, they say he got stabbed in the heart and he was in the hospital for 3 months and he was in critical care. At the time, he was 6-0. He was undefeated, but that type of adversity, he fights with that, man. That's why it's so hard for him to like get finished or get knocked out.
Look, and he got 1 submission, and that was what? That was in 2014 to top 10 heavyweight in the world, Alexander Volkov, when he was just on that tear. So I don't think Marcin can do that much. Marcin 37?
And then even Marcin's last fight against Alexander Romanov, Alexander, he screwed it up, man. The third round, he took the third round off like he was winning. And then he ended up losing the majority decision. You could have won, Alexander, but I think Ivanov not going to fight like that, man. I think if it's that close, Ivanov was kind of separate himself more so than Marcin. I just don't like these close losses, though, man. It's almost like he's not doing enough to win.
It's like something in the eyes of the judges. Well, they're not seeing something from him, and it's making them judge these fights like this. It's hard, man, because his only recent loss is to Alexander Volkov, which ironically is the person who submitted Blagoy back in the day. I don't have a prediction for this fight because Marcin is just too much of a
mixed bag
of results. And then it's like Blagoy, like he's getting.
He don't really, and he don't pull the trigger sometimes too, man. He got that style where he just circle around.
And then if he do pull the trigger, he gets real wild. Just throwing hooks. This fight could be real exciting. This fight could be real boring. I'm not picking a fighter, man, just because I don't think it has any implications for the division anyway.
And neither one of them is striking really standing out like that.
Yeah.
They're striking probably on the same level.
This would be the fight that I go and make popcorn, you know.
Yeah, I know, man.
Or go get something.
And if Marcin can survive Romanov, he definitely can survive Ivanov.
Yeah.
So, I mean, their skills might cancel out, man. It might be a split decision.
It's going to be a split decision or some type of weird majority something.
Yeah.
They both have certain skills, but they just don't use them the right way consistently enough.
But this is the bottom of the elite heavyweight division right here, man. Oh, yeah,
that's true. And then next we have Jung versus Devin Clark. We got another mixed bag fighter here. I'm not talking about Jung. He just lost the fight. He was riding a 12-fight win streak before he lost. So we kind of know what we're getting with him for the level of competition that he was fighting. Lost to a tough fighter, Dustin Jacoby. And we ain't seen Dustin fight like that. Have we ever seen Dustin fight like that in the UFC?
I've never seen him fight like that.
Because we know he could kickbox, but he was aggressive this time.
And I hate to say this, man, but wasn't really knocked out either, man. Like, it was bad. It was brutal.
He was put out, though. He was definitely put out.
He got finished. I'm not saying it was an early stoppage, but I'm just saying that actually helped him out, the referee stopping that fight, because it kind of saved his career.
Yeah. Because you don't want to get knocked out for real. And then we're starting to see that with these guys getting knocked out, and then it becomes a thing where it becomes more common than it was, or they start to go down a series of fights where they keep getting knocked out. So it kind of helped him because he could look back on it and say, yeah, I was done.
And he's fighting the one guy, Devin Clark, who's not going to. Devin Clark has some knockout power, but he's not going to pull the trigger.
Man, he coming off a TKO loss. You know, it's so weird with Devin Clark. You never know what you're going to get.
Well, that Azamat fight, he took so much damage. Like, Azamat kept on landing. Azamat's undefeated, and he has a lot of knockouts. That's the guy I told you he fight like a light heavyweight version of Johnny Hendricks.
Yeah.
The thing is, Azamat kept on landing the left hand, and he was hurting Devin, but he couldn't put him away. But then he started going to the body, and he'll do a jab, but then he'll do a left hand to the body, and that's what finished Devin Clark.
I'm going to be real with you. Devin's only real chance is getting this fight to the ground with the wrestling. And it's so odd because there are fights where Devin can't get the fight to the ground. There are fights where Devin can get the fight to the ground, and some kind of way he end up getting submitted. We've seen him pick people up, slam them, all kind of stuff. In 2 minutes, he's the one getting finished.
And that's the thing.
I just don't understand.
And I'm tired of hearing all this stuff about what he do in the weight room, what he do in the gym. Oh, I deadlift 600 pounds. Bro, show it. When was the last time Devin Clark really just showed how strong he was? I mean, it's been a long time.
Well, he shows the strength, man, but it's like, it's the actual fight IQ. Because And Anthony Smith, like, did he take Anthony Smith down?
Oh yeah, then Anthony reversed him.
Didn't Ryan Spann? I think at one point he took Ryan Spann down. It's like I'm looking at even the fights that some of these losses he was winning at first, and he is like he found ways to lose. And then I kind of look at the people he got wins over. Man, just listen to these names: Josh Stanberry, Jake Collier, Mike Rodriguez, Darko Stosic, Daquan Townsend. Alonzo is a good win because Alonzo is doing real good right now.
I think he was undefeated. I think he broke his undefeated streak, actually.
So that was a good win. And then William Knight. And it's like, you really look at the quality of wins, and they're good wins for that level of competition. But it seems like when he get that bump up in competition, it's like he's that middle of the road fighter to where he can beat certain fighters, but then any little step up in competition.
We call them gatekeepers.
Almost. And then I'm going to be real. Sometimes they're starting to use him as the fighter that they throw to you if you coming off a loss, but they want you to get a quick win. How they used to do Misha Serkinov. Remember his career started going that direction?
Hey, let me say this. He lost to Alexander Rakic, Ryan Spann, Anthony Smith, Kuchalaba, and Azamai. Those are tough guys. Yeah. The only one that stands out
is... Hold on, let me see. Eon.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big L to have, man.
Yeah, because Anthony Smith...
But that was the best we ever seen Kuchalaba too, man. So that I can't really hold that against him. I'm gonna be honest with you. I kind of want to pick Devin Clark in this fight. The only thing is, you never know which version you get. And if I got a more consistent version of Devin Clark, because he only lost to good fighters, he's never lost to a scrub before, man.
And it's so crazy, man, because every time you count Devin Clark out and you assume he's gonna get knocked out in 2 minutes or submitted, bro. When he got submitted by Jan Blachowicz with a standard rear naked choke with no hooks in, that was crazy.
Oh, years ago though, man.
No, but he still make those type of decisions. I know it was years ago, but I'm saying he's very capable of doing the same thing while losing the same way in 2023.
You want to tell you what hurts Devin Clark? Look at his wins.
Decisions?
Yes. Decisions hurt him, man, because he's not pulling the trigger. That's why he keeps losing these fights. It's a combination of that, and also when he's fighting stellar competition, it's almost like mentally he's defeated before he step in there. But also, when he's fighting these people, he's not pulling the trigger, man. He's trying to fight too conservative.
But it's so odd because whenever his back is against the wall and you count him out, that's when he'll have a real impressive win. And you'll be like, oh, okay. Because he has a few wins recently where it was like, whoa, where did that come from? Like, we haven't seen that. And then the next fight, you won't see it. But Da Jung has been more consistent with fewer fights. And I got to be honest, man, I can see Devin getting a takedown here or there. But I don't see him being able to keep Da Jung down. And I think that Da can make the right adjustments. One thing about Da is he don't throw a whole bunch of punches. Like, he throws everything behind the jab. He throws feints. He'll go to the body. He'll just kind of do certain things. Like, he'll give you certain looks to see how you respond. So I think that just his calculated approach to fighting, because he still pulls the trigger.
He knocked out a couple people who never been knocked out before, like Kennedy and Mike Rodriguez. These guys never been knocked out before they fought him. It's kind of hard to make a prediction on this one. At first, I was going to pick Devin Clark, but the way Da knocked out Kennedy, and Kennedy's hard to knock out, man. He put him out easily.
And then the way that Da lost to Dustin Jacoby, I think he kind of got beat in the mental warfare game in the sense of Dustin was making it look like it was all fun and games, but he was really beating him.
Yeah. Like
that Wonder Boy Kevin Holland thing, like touching hands and high-fiving, but I just dropped you and you just had to stand back up and we high-fiving. What are we high-fiving for? And he kind of got beat like that, but Devin don't fight like that, man. And I just don't see Devin getting a fight to the ground.
At the very least, I think Jung is going to win a decision where he's dominant. Because Devin is kind of hard to finish too, man. I can see Jung winning the decision.
Yeah, I'm going with Jung with the decision, man. This will be the fight where Devin Clark show up and be impressive, and then don't do nothing with it for the next two fights. But we're going to move on and look at Derrick Lewis and Sergey Spivak, the fight that was originally scheduled for, what was it, December? Sometime in December?
Yeah, sometime in December.
And then...
and I think this is actually better for Derrick Lewis because he gets more time to heal and recover mentally.
Yeah. Because now we're about 6-7 months away removed from the fight with Sergey Pavlovich, almost a year away from the Tatu Avasa fight where he got finished.
I saw some pictures of Derrick Lewis. I don't know if they new or older, but he was in so much shape.
Was that real?
It looked like he had lost like a lot of weight, but I don't know if it was old or new. Sometimes people put up old stuff and say, oh yeah, it's Derrick Lewis been losing weight. But if that video is real of him losing weight, then yes, the heavyweight division is in trouble. But we say this every year.
I don't know if they're in trouble, but you know,
I was way off.
I was pushing a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know if they're in trouble.
Reaching.
You know, John Jones up there, Cyril Gahn still up there.
This is the perfect time for the heavyweight fighters to kind of show what they're capable of.
To stand out, yeah.
There's no heavyweight champion right now.
Yeah. But unfortunately, whoever win, ain't none of them touching it regardless because they can't touch Cyril Gahn.
You know what I'm saying? But if John Jones wins, Derrick Lewis has a decent chance to beat John Jones. With that knockout power?
He has no chance of landing ever.
Oh, yeah, true. If he can't land on
the only way he landed on John Jones is if the gates of hell opened up and all the souls of everybody in hell grab John Jones' legs through the octagon and he can't move. and he can just land on him. And even then, he still might lose. But
so this is a brawler versus wrestler type of fight, man. And
I don't think my prediction changes. If anything, I still lean more towards Derrick Lewis. I mean, Sergey Spivak, you know, the polar bear, that's a good name. We talked about this, man. But I will say, man, that Walt Harris 50-second knockout loss.
That was his first fight in the UFC, and, you know, he's a grappler, so.
He's had that many fights in this short amount of time in the UFC. That's crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fights.
It's going to get interesting because Sergey is not going to do to Derrick Lewis what he did to Augusto and Greg Hardy. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can like call audibles and switch the game plan up.
But if Derrick lost all that weight, you think that might hurt him a little bit as far as the strength thing is concerned?
I don't think so, man. His power is going to be there regardless.
I'm talking about for grappling purposes.
No, I don't think so. Sergey ain't the biggest guy either. Sergey is a normal size.
But I'm talking about the way he fight though. He weighed 254 pounds.
And other guys cut down to 266.
I'm talking about him. Though. I'm saying 254 pounds because if that Derrick Lewis fight, if they're grappling, I guess we got to see how much Derrick Lewis weighs on the weigh-ins.
Yeah.
Because if that picture is true and he lost that weight, you got to remember that size is what helped him because a lot of times he was not doing things traditionally the right way on the ground, but he was able to buck people off him, get out of submissions, all kind of bad positions because of that size. So if he lose weight, that's what I'm just thinking.
But the way to beat Derrick Lewis is not to take him down. Because we done seen the Gabriel Gonzaga and these big wrestlers, they can't get him down to the ground. So that's why I think, I'm going to be honest, I don't think this is going to be an exciting fight. I think Sergey is going to win a decision.
What?
I think Sergey, because I don't think Sergey is going to be able to take him down. And I think Sergey going to say, you know what? The Cyril Gahn fight, he was able to move around. I'm going to fight smart. There's no heavyweight champion right now. I need to separate myself from Derrick Lewis. I need to get in the top 5. I think Sergey gonna try to take him down. I don't think he's gonna be able to. If you watch Sergey sometimes, if he can get a takedown, he kind of stick and move and jab. I can see him doing it to Derrick Lewis. But the thing is, if you play the game with Derrick Lewis, he's gonna catch you.
You will get caught, especially over 5 rounds. I'm picking Derrick Lewis. They made this fight for a reason. They kind of want him to get back on a win streak, and I think he gets the job done. I'm not underestimating Sergey, but I'm going with Derrick Lewis.
I got to see Derrick Lewis' mindset, and I got to see his weight for this week. But I'm going with Sergey. I don't know if he can get the finish or not, but
if they had fought a month ago and Derrick had those problems, Derrick was going to lose. But he's had that time now to recover, potentially lose weight. I'm going with Derrick.